Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 1027. Hello, it's Mike Matthews, broadcasting from Cafe Anyway, located somewhere at the last place on earth in Podcastro Valley, Mont. Today, the return of the much-loved feature called Mike's Cassette Cubbyhole, where we'll hear an interview I did with the famous country singer Gary Allan.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Back in the 90s, when he started out. That's right. Also, Bison Bentley.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Valentino, Madame Rootabega, the Daily Hayley. I know you don't want to hear me complain about waking up early, since I do that every day. And I'm not a morning person, so it's difficult to make this podcast even after some big national game that everybody else is talking about.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
In 20 days, it's the Academy Awards, so I think I am pretty much out
Mike's
of topics.
Daily
Oh, Elton John
Podcast.
ate at a Pizza Hut,
Yeah.
and he's retiring from public life. Well, it's the circle of life. I have a lot of Elton John albums. I guess I like them. That's how a lot of Elton John fans are. I guess I like him. Would I pay to go see him? Like $3,000 a ticket or whatever? No. But it doesn't matter anymore. He's retiring. I say good for him. It's in a world where a lot of his mates are passing away, are leaving this plane. It's good to see him take some time out with his kid and everything. You know, I don't know. I can't be an atheist. I guess I don't know if it's because I was raised in basically by the Baptist church. I went to the Baptist. They called it a Baptist day school, which I don't know what that means. It's a school that. When are you going to teach kids at night? Night school is a thing for adults, technically. But anyway, they called it a day school, a Baptist day school, and I went to that for 10 years, 9 years, quite a while. Oh, look, I just walked in. Hello, Michael Matthews, this is Madame Rootabega. You are talking about your past. Yes, my past. And I was at a Baptist school, and I had to learn a Bible verse every week. That's how it was. And the concept of God and Jesus was just drilled into our brains. So as you get older, you think one day, am I thinking this because it's true? Or am I thinking this because it was pushed into my head every day? Now, mind you, my mom never was the type to push it into my head, or my dad. They were more like, think whatever you want. Be a free will, that kind of thing. So it's interesting now that I work for a radio station that is Christian-based, and all morning as I work at this station, I hear preachers talking about the Word of God, and you have to follow this book, the Bible, verbatim. And Jesus said this, and Paul said that, and Leviticus. Oh, look who else just walked in. Right now. Look at this person.
Mike, I don't know if I want to be on your religious talk show here today.
No, go ahead, Valentino. It's all right.
Hey, this is Valentino, the parking attendant.
And this is Bison Bentley. Do you know that?
Mike, I see you are discussing the great questions of life day.
Yeah, like why are we here? And where do we go when we die? Die! Do you know that? Yeah. Well, life and death exist together. And I think the greatest recruiter for Christians is death. They go, oh my God, my mom died. I need to become a Christian because I want to see her someday. Or maybe somebody else close to you dies. And you know, that's whatever. That's a question, a big, huge, heavy question for Monday that I think we can just leave right there and say, Elton John's eating at Pizza Hut. And hopefully he'll stick around for a while. Hakuna Matata, Since the day we arrive on the planet, blinking, walking into the sun, there's more to see that has ever been seen, more to do that's ever been done.
Michael Matthew, what is that song?
It's some Dolly Parton song. I would like to also say that I'm not going to Mogadishu anytime soon. The airport there is crazy. I won't say the letter F, so I'll just go to the next letter, G. It is G'd up, that airport. That's the airport where there was an explosion on the plane and one person got sucked through a hole and died. Turns out that the guy that died was a suicide bomber with a laptop. All evidence is starting to show. And he tried to bring down that plane. Thankfully, he didn't. The pilot, some brilliant guy, I think from Russia, was able to land this guy is a freaking hero. He landed the plane. Basically, everyone except for the idiot that tried to kill everybody was fine. So the suicide bomber died. Everybody else was okay. It was a laptop explosive. Somehow they got around security. Somebody that worked at the airport got the laptop and gave it to this suicide bomber. So the pilot of the plane said, this airport is messed up. There's no security at all. When he landed the plane the first time before this whole thing happened, he said there was about like 20 people came up to the plane that had no badges, that looked like they had no security clearance at all. So don't go to Mogadishu. Avoid that. Oh, when you're landing at the airport, apparently you have to land over the ocean, because if you land over the city, people shoot at the planes. So yeah, don't go there anytime soon. And then he said he didn't want to land back at the airport, even though there was a hole in his plane. He didn't want to land at the airport, and the fuselage was blown away, because he said, I don't want to be back at this airport with all the security lax problems. But he was able to land, and he safely rescued all these people on this plane. So wow, that's a big crazy story. And then there's a story coming out of New York about a nuclear power plant that's leaking radioactivity to the groundwater on the plant. So that will be an interesting story as that develops today. Gas prices still low, thank you very much. Almost at $2 here in the Bay Area if you go to the really cheap gas stations, which they say don't get cheap gas, it's bad for your engine. No, there's no proof of that. Gas is gas. Go get gas at the cheap station. Wait in line for hours, though, in the process. Not unless you wake up at 4 in the morning as I do. Nobody's at the gas station then. Which brings us full circle. Did you want to say anything else, Valentino?
Yeah, I think I'm afraid after all those stories you have told me today, Mike. I want to, hide and hope that Chris Christie becomes president, because he'll save us there.
Yeah, he'll save us. Do you know that?
Madame Rootabega?
I'm dating a younger man.
Yeah, you always mention that. Okay, well, the website is mikesdailypodcast.com to catch all the past interviews that I've done, to find all the places you can listen to the show, and also if you want to go online there at mikesdailypodcast.com and help us out. But if you're going to shop and buy anything on Amazon, go through that link at mikesdailypodcast.com. And if you buy anything on Amazon, that helps us out. It's a great way to help us out. Did I mention it helps us out? It helps us out. Out. Yeah, you know what? Also, there is the PayPal if you'd like to donate to the show and become an inglorious Mike's Daily Podcaster. And all the Cafe Anyway characters will sing you a song or something. Right, guys?
Sure, Michael Matthew, whatever.
Yeah, I can sing a little song.
Yeah, maybe the Elton John song with the lion. Do you know that?
And then there's also the blog, the podcast, picture, everything else, mikesdailypodcast.com. Okay, now let's listen to a cassette. This is Mike's Cassette Cubbyhole. It is called this because I saved the interviews on cassette back then. This was actually when I recorded this. The digital recording technology was barely out, so I had to record it on cassette. 1997, I got to talk to Gary Allan, who just got his start. He had a song called, what was it called? Her Man. Starting today, all I want to be is her man. And then he had another ballad called It Would Be You. He had a bunch of other songs like Watching the Airplanes Fly By and This Is Right Where I Want to Be. He does a lot of great songs, Gary Allan does. So here this interview, he had his good friend Jake Chely, who was his partner in crime. They wrote a lot of songs together, performed on stage together. Ooh, there's an interesting side note to Gary Allan that you're going to hear right now. Maybe you've caught my show on Country Crossroads that I do on the weekend, and you're like, who's this guy? Oh, I'm listening to his podcast now, and here's this country DJ. Here's a bit of juicy gossip for you, country fan, about Gary Allan. I was once working for a radio station. We had a sales lady that worked for us. The sales girl was hot. She was a hot blonde, and she got to go with my program director to a Gary Allan party. Or a party that Gary Allan was at, something like that. And apparently Gary Allan and the sales girl made out behind some bushes. This is a story that I heard told by many witnesses there. So I don't know if that really happened. Gary Allan's a good-looking guy. It could have happened. Who knows? But anyway, we had a good chat, Gary Allan and I, and Jake Chely, and here it is from 1997 when he first got his start.
Cassette Cubbyhole.
Oh my gosh, it's Gary Allan and Jake Chely. Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey,
man.
How are you?
Nice to meet you guys.
It's nice to meet you, man.
Thanks for popping by the Hey Santa Fe Cafe. Our drink is root beer or sarsaparilla.
I'll be having a root beer.
What about you, Jake Chely?
Do you have anything in a carbonated grain beverage?
We certainly don't, but I'll look for one. Jim, do we have a carbonated green beverage?
Matthew, as you know, I am now the owner of the K Santa Fe Cafe. I do not go and get you anything. Okey-doke.
God, he's such a dude. Anyway, Gary, it's nice to meet you. You guys are local boys.
Local boys. We're from Southern California ourselves.
Wow, so you grew up, did you grow up in California?
Yeah, I grew up in La Mirada, actually, down there by Huntington. I live in Huntington Beach now.
Oh, there's some fine women.
There's some I hadn't noticed.
Well, you and I will take a trip. I'll point them out to you.
Thank you.
Look, a fine woman there, Gary. And Jake lives, too, also locally, I guess.
Yeah, he lives out here.
Sherman Oaks.
Whoa, God.
Right close.
Actually, my whole band's from Los Angeles area.
Really?
I've been playing out here since I was about 13.
Wow. So how did the question, of course, that every interviewer asks you, so I will ask it now, is how does one become country growing up in like a predominantly, let's say, L.A. is like rock and roll, the Doors and everything.
Right. So. My dad used to play, and I actually started playing bars with my dad when I was little. So my dad was a player, and then my brother was a player also. So we played bars together for a few years when I first started.
Wow. You were 13 when you started?
Yep.
Wow.
13 when I stared playing clubs.
Huh.
The law was I had to be 6 inches off the ground to be legal in the bar, and I had to go outside on on the breaks in some of the clubs.
Whoa.
They were pretty paranoid about me being so young in there.
Wow. And so have you a following that goes way back to...
Yeah, there's some people. Actually, Manuel, the guy that makes the clothes out in Nashville for everybody, he's the one that makes all those hip jackets. When I was talking to him in Roberts in Nashville a couple months ago, and he goes, now I know who you are. He goes, I seen you play at the Palomino, and he started going off. And so every once in a while, somebody will remember from way back there, but it's pretty rare.
But you not only have fans there, but you were in New York, right? And you were at some deli that's really famous?
We're at Carnegie Deli. How did you hear about that? And some guy came, we got linen. That was their way of treating you great. And we were in this little deli.
Linen?
Hey, you're Gary Allan. And he asked for a signed picture, and we gave him a picture, and he went and got linen so we didn't have to eat with paper napkins like the peasants in the place.
I'm gonna go and get you some linen for you to eat with.
Yeah, that's what it's
rather than this papery substance that is oh so foul.
That was great. And so they put your picture on the wall.
Yeah. Now we know we're famous. We're in the Carnegie Deli in New York.
Right next to...
we were nobody until that moment.
Oh, no. But your picture's right next to who? Is it...
I don't think we actually got to see it go up, so I don't know who it's next to.
I heard it's next to... the name left my mind. It was like Phyllis Diller or something.
Really?
Aren't you a big fan of Phyllis Diller?
Who isn't?
Who isn't? Yeah.
Now I'm just making up stuff. Where is that green carbonated drink? Do you guys want to play a song and we'll dive more into your interesting history?
We live to play a song. What do you want us to play?
Oh.
Anything we want?
You got me. You were sound checking with Forever and a Day. So.
You want to hear that?
Yeah.
They say nothing lasts forever, honey, I got news. Whoever said that never got the blues from you. This cloud I'm under looks like it's gonna stay. Love is gonna last forever and a day. Nothing's gonna change the way I think and feel. My heart, it's so heavy and my fate is sealed. Stop this misery every night I pray. I know it's gonna last forever and a day. Forever and a day. You're stuck here in my mind. Forever and a day. You're such a long, long time. Tell myself again that I just can't swim this river of regret that I'm drowning in. You left me with this feeling that I just can't shake. My spirit's gonna sink forever and a day. Forever and a day. You're stuck here in my mind. Forever and a day. Such a long, long time. Forever and a day. You're stuck here in my mind. Forever and a day. You're such a long, long time. It's such a long, long time.
All right, Gary Allan here at the KH Santa Fe Cafe with Jake Kelly. Hi. Welcome. And so we were last talking to you. You were in the Valley. No, wait, you were in Huntington Beach.
Yeah.
And then something happened. How did you have a record deal when you were younger?
Actually, you know what? When I was offered my first deal when I was 15, and my parents wouldn't let me do it. My dad had this thing about, you need to play for the people that love you and the people that hate you and the people that could care less, and then you'll figure out what you like, And I don't think I really understood that till I was about 24, and I'd played clubs for like a good 10 years. And then it's true, you just start really honing in on what you like about country music, and I just started only playing that. And it cost us a lot of things. We weren't allowed to play like the big clubs, because they all wanted you to play the top 40 stuff, but we played so much like Buck Owens and Haggard and stuff like that they told us if we cut a lot of that out, we could play, and we figured we really didn't need to play their club if we couldn't play the stuff that we liked. So anyway.
That's great.
So I guess I was telling you the other story, we were offered my first deal at 15. They took me to entertainment attorneys, and they just decided that I needed to stay in school until I figured out, Until I got my high school diploma, I guess is what they were trying to say. So anyway, I quit. I got angry at the world and quit playing for a while, in clubs anyway. And when I was about 20, I put together another band, and I actually joined in. That's how I met Jake. I joined another band off an ad out of the Recycler for a guitar player.
We know the Recycler well.
That's right. And gosh, I joined, got the gig as a guitar player. About a week later, I ended up being the singer, and we were auditioning guitar players, and that's how I met Jake here. He came down and auditioned, and he played like 4 songs with this band, and he stopped, and I'll never forget this. He put his guitar back in his case, and he looked over at us and went, "This just isn't really the direction I want to head." And then he packed up his stuff, and on his way out, he turned around and looked at me and waved me over, and I walked over there, and he kind of went, "What are you doing with these people?" And I said, "Well, I've been out of the loop for a little bit, I was just trying to get back in." And he said, "Why don't me and you put together a band?" And about 2 weeks later, we did, and that's the band we have today. And played in clubs for a little while, and was offered another deal when I was 22 with this band. And I was... Go ahead.
No, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Too late now. Use it. You may as well run with it now, Matt.
Okay, all right. So, what were you doing for a living at that particular time, before you got your record deal the second time?
Before I got the deal the second time, I was selling cars.
Whoa! Did that have anything to do with the title of the album?
Used Heart for Sale. You bet, man. Me and Jake actually wrote that song when I was selling cars, and we came up with all them car hooks.
So what's let's say I'm coming up to you, Gary, and I need a car bad, but I know I'm going to haggle with you. Yeah. What would you do with me usually?
What would you say? How are you haggling with me?
Let's see. Hey, that Lexus there looks really nice.
It is.
But I think I'll only put this X amount of money down for it.
Yeah. And I would say...
Can I get a deal?
I would say, let me show you something you can afford, Matt.
So, but I heard that then somebody contributed money to your second record deal.
Actually, what happened is, I lost that first deal and ended up without a job while we were negotiating. It all went to heck, and I was working construction. Sold my construction company thinking I had a record deal. That record deal went to... And then I didn't have a job, so my brother told me I could sell cars with him, so I started selling cars. And this lady bought a truck, and when she did, she brought it back like 3 weeks later to get it washed, and somebody had stuck one of my demos in her dashboard. They must have been listening to it out there or something, because there wasn't in any of the other ones. So she came back and said, "I want to know who's on this tape," and I said, "That's me." And her and her husband just started asking me questions, It wasn't even a big deal. They just said, "How long you been doing it?" And I told them most of my story, and they said, "Well, what's your plan now?" And I said, "I'm going to go to Nashville and make a demo, because I've always made my demos in L.A. And see if I can't make some noise there." And they said, "What's stopping you?" I said, "Money." They said, "How much?" And I said, like 10, 12 grand. And out of the blue, her husband just kind of patted her on the shoulder and said, "Write him a check."
Whoa!
And that's what I said. And called Jake and said, "Man, Jake, this lady just gave me 12 grand.
That was at 10:32 on a Sunday morning. One of those things that stays with you.
So, So she offered, and actually when she handed it to me, I'd had my family try to give me money to do that, and I never took money from my family because I figured if I ever decide that I've had enough of trying to get a deal, I'd have somebody in my family going, "My butt, I just gave you 10 grand, get yourself back out there."
Yeah.
And I told this to this lady and kind of slid it back to her, and she laughed at me, and she went, "It's really not that much money to me." She said, "So if it can change your life, you should take it."
Wow.
And I did, and me and Jake, we have those 2 leather guitar cases that you saw us carrying. Those were the first thing I bought. That and 2 plane tickets to Nashville. We flew to Nashville in September of '95, cut Forever and a Day. These are songs that we brought to town. We cut Forever and a Day, From Where I'm Sitting, Used Heart for Sale, and Of All the Hearts. Those were the 4 songs that we cut that we pitched to the record labels. Flew back home. First people to call was RCA. They said they were coming down on November 8th. And Decca found out they were coming out on the 8th, so they were coming on the 1st. And then Curb showed, and before we knew it, we were in this big bidding war about 5 weeks, 6 weeks later. And
nice place to be.
Amen. So we were able to ask questions, what do you want to change and things like that. And Sheila Shipley of Decca Records, it's a lady that runs Decca. And when I asked her what she wanted to change, she was the only one that really slowed down and said, "What do you mean?" And I said, I've played music my whole life. I said, and if you guys want to change something, I said, music's the coolest thing in my life, and if you guys wanted to change something and have it not be the coolest thing in my life, I think I'd rather stay here and play for $50 and have you guys try to turn me into, like a lot of that pop stuff that you hear out there, because that's just not me. And she got kind of teary-eyed and said, "You know what, you just do what you do, and I'll make sure that, we get it out there."
Right on, right answer.
That's right. Answer. Sold me. Ding, 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 ding. I fell for it.
All right. Cool. Now we'll have another part of that interview at some point in the future. I just thought of another great song Gary Allan does, "Smoke Rings in the Dark." Oh, awesome songs. He did some good songs there. Every cloud every rain has a cloud. There's that one. Yeah. Anyway, as we go outside of Cafe Anyway, we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcaster Valley. Come on.
And here's today's podcast picture.
And the Cafe podcast picture here at Cafe Anyway is of the wonderful town of Fayetteville, Tennessee. When I used to live in Alabama, I lived not too far away from the Tennessee border. I was over in northern Alabama in Huntsville. And sometimes I would drive up to Fayetteville because it was a cool little town, even though it was a long drive from where I lived. And actually, you go through Fayetteville on your way to Lynchburg, Tennessee, to the Jack Daniels distillery if you live in the Huntsville area. But Fayetteville is this cool little town, very sort of Dukes of Hazzard little town square in the south. And there was this nice little coffee place called Elk River Coffee that I used to like to go to, and there's a picture of it. I don't even know if it's still open. But there's a picture of it there, the podcast picture at Mike'sDailyPodcast.com. And now it's the Daily Haley.
The Daily Haley. The almost Daily Haley.
And how was your weekend, Haley?
Hello, it's me.
Oh, he's communicating completely through us now. Very good.
I couldn't get a good enough beat for that to actually sound good.
Oh, well.
Oh, well.
Well, that was good.
There's a vine of a guy playing his guitar to like a groove while his cat is just sitting on his keyboard, so it's just making this elongated tone. He's just jamming along to it.
That's an awesome vine.
It's pretty funny.
Cats are funny.
Cats are great.
They're lots of fun. When I went to the vet the other day, because I go see vets because I'm a dog.
Yeah.
They have a cat in the waiting room. Yeah. And I was petting it. And then it was a bird. They put a bird cage right next to the cat.
Really?
And the birds are outside of the cage. So I'm like, then the bird is on my finger and I'm petting the cat. I'm like, this is like, these two shouldn't meet because things will happen.
Maybe, but you were in a vet hospital with your dog petting a cat, so that shouldn't really happen either.
It was a weird mixture of animals. And if one were allergic, one would die. Because there was a lot of pet stuff in the air.
Yeah.
Well, what we learned today on the Daily Haley is that coffee is good.
Yeah. See you next week.
We were trying to think of a show that we would do if we were on our business talk station.
I figured it'd just be like we'd say some words and then we'd be like, here's some more music, and then we'd just play a 30-second loop of the intro to Money by Pink Floyd. Ding, ding, ding,
ding, ding, ding,
ding, with like the cash register noises and stuff. And then we'd be like, and we're back. And then we'd say some more words and we'd be like, here's some more music. And it'd just be the same loop.
Over and over again.
Ding, 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 ding.
That song is from Dark Side of the Moon. That song, that album was like in the top 100 for something like 30 years. It was crazy.
It's still good. It still holds up.
I agree. They were British guys.
I like the song Time a lot.
Time rolling like a river.
No, wait. Is it called Run? The one song?
Run.
Nothing like
that. You better sing all day, sing all night.
That one's good too. But the one that
I was thinking
that was written out of extreme fear of flying.
Oh.
It was on Dark Side of the Moon. And it was like right after the opening track. And it's the
Oh, with that weird effect? Yeah. Yeah.
You know which one I mean.
No.
Oh.
Wait. Is it called Run?
I think it's called Run.
I'm gonna look it up now. It's Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah.
That won't really tell me anything, will it?
No.
Oh, wait. If I go... Is it The Great Gig in the Sky?
No, it's not The Great Gig in the Sky.
Oh. Is it... I
think it's the one After Time.
Okay, here, I'm gonna ask Bing, what's the song After Time? That won't look... Do you ever have that thing where you're trying to type in a search bar and it won't let you...
Time.
It doesn't let you type the letters and it doesn't put the letters. I get mad at the search engine. What is the song after... What's the song? Called Time? After Time on Dark Side of the Moon. That would be Le Monde. No, wait, that's World. Never.
On the Run.
On the Run.
See, all I had to do was do a simpler Google search. Dark Side of the Moon track list.
Damn, you did that fast.
On the Run.
How did you... Okay, let's see. Is this it? Nope.
That was a Dream Theater
Dream Theater's version,
I guess.
Oh, okay. Here we go. So if you watch the thing on Netflix about the making...
Pot it down all the way now. Just so we don't get binged.
Oh. You mean dinged?
Dinged. Binged.
If we get binged, do we get points and then we can eat at Chipotle? Have you gotten enough points to eat at Chipotle yet?
I have. I just haven't redeemed anything. Now you can pot it back up.
Okay, it was an early, what would we call those keyboard? Moogs? But it was some kind of...
boxes.
It was some kind of sequencer that did this thing where it jumps between several notes repeatedly.
Yeah.
And they said, because David Gilmour sounds like this. We were thinking about doing an actual instrumental where we were going to actually have a song, but then we will play around with this keyboard effect. And we rather like that better instead. It's groovy. Austin Powers. Yeah, baby, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We want to hope that you listen to lots of Pink Floyd in your life this week. Because...
I guess. Listen to what you want to, man.
That's true.
Live a free life.
Do what you want.
Don't let the man get you down.
What music are you into these days, Haley?
Been listening to a fair amount of shoegaze.
Name some shoegaze bands.
Let's see. Ringo Death Star.
I want to listen
to... What is that song? Or what is that band? Something Redhead. My Chemical Romance. My Chemical Romance? Not My Chemical Romance. I always get the bands that are good with their letters in their names mixed
Is this
up.
Ringo Death Star?
This is Ringo Death Star. MCR? My Chemical Romance? It might be. My Bloody Valentine, that's what I'm thinking of.
Oh, yeah.
My Bloody Valentine, one of the original shoegaze. My Bloody Valentine and Jesus and Mary Chain are, like, pretty popular as far as the noise pop shoegaze goes. I can't think of that. It's something Redhead is the other one.
Oh, okay. Jesus and Mary Chain goes way back.
Yes. Well, the shoegaze was invented in the 80s, I think.
Just Like Honey. Oh, yeah.
What a good song.
I love that guitar effect.
Me too. As she takes on half the world.
Oh, that's awesome. You know, I like that music. It really takes me back to UCSB where I went to school.
And took tons of drugs?
I didn't take drugs in school because drugs are bad, okay? I think I drank a few beers. I was a total square.
Now you're more rounded.
Now I'm a roundhead guy because I'm bald. I'm a roundhead guy and I'm bald. Oh, yeah.
My dog just died. That's okay, because I'm a roundhead guy.
Don't say Basil died. Basil's not limping so much anymore. That's good.
Oh, good.
Yeah, he was limping, and I didn't know why. And
was he a biscuit?
He was not a Limp Bizkit, thank God. Oh, we're not playing any Limp Bizkit.
We're not playing any Limp Bizkit. I own a Limp Bizkit album, and I've never heard any Limp Bizkit.
What was their song?
No, I don't know.
We don't care. Do you want to hear a little bit of a song I'm working on?
Sure.
This is called Always Get Pushed Through Doors. Doesn't it sound great?
I love it. It's reminiscent of John Cage's work.
John Cage didn't even put anything. All right.
Kind of reminds me of his work 433. In fact, you might get
dinged
if you play more than 30 seconds of this.
With a new man today.
So it's a song about someone seeing an ex-girlfriend with some other guy.
Snow turned into...
Yeah.
Make her world turn. And now I learn.
Do you like the little something?
I always get pushed through doors.
That's the chorus.
I always get pushed through doors.
I always get pushed through doors. Sort of like, you know, someone getting pushed around in life. Sort of metaphorical. Or metaphysical.
It's meta 6 in the morning.
Dr. Seussical. All right. Oh, let's recap Super Bowl.
There was a ball.
Guys played. A ball was thrown.
Mm-hmm. I actually watched some boxing on Saturday night.
Who
like some MMA people. I don't know. I was just out of Chili's and it was on the TV. There's these two heavy set guys. And like one would like go for like a punch and then just tap the other guy, and then the other guy would dance backwards. And they did that for like 5 minutes, and then one of them won by unanimous decision apparently.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know how that game works.
Yeah.
Something about they have to inflict bodily harm.
I guess so.
What was that? What did you eat at Chili's?
A guacamole burger and a Long Island iced tea.
Damn, that sounds good.
It was.
And it got you properly blitzed.
It did.
I think... Oh, I want to ask you. When we did that podcast the other day, when you ranted about the brothers or whatever...
Oh, yeah, the YouTube stuff.
We got like 60 downloads.
Really?
On Spreaker.
No way.
What did you repost that somewhere?
No, I didn't do a damn thing.
Did someone you know repost it?
Not as far as I know.
60's a lot.
Yeah.
And that's not you like playing it off 60 different computers, is it?
No, I listened to it once.
Weird.
Wow.
It was a fun rant.
I guess so. Did you put it in like the tags?
No, I forgot to put the whole, the whatever the brothers' names.
Yeah, that's so weird.
I should have put that in the tag so people looking it up would go, What is this thing about the... Oh, yeah, I don't know, this guy's in a cafe or something, I don't know, whatever. What's going on?
Yeah.
I work with this guy at the other station who's about 20, and he says, "Hey, man, I just did a podcast." I'm like, "Oh, great." He's like, "Yeah, it's a sports podcast." But, he had it all on the left channel, so, I don't have the technology to make this sound like it's in the left channel.
I mean, yes, you do. We could just...
Oh, wait. If I do this, maybe?
No.
No.
No. No.
No?
That's not how it works. You could just say something. And then you could cut out the right channel in post.
I'll do it in post. I'm lazy. All right. What ended up happening was he said that he worked on the podcast for 5 hours because he was cutting out all of his uhs.
Oh, no.
And the podcast was an hour and a half.
Oh, no.
Can you imagine? I'm like, dude, you're never going to do another podcast again if you spend that much time on one.
Can you imagine talking for an hour and a half about sports?
Versus what we talk about, which is life.
And in order to understand sports, first you must understand a ball.
A ball
What is a ball? Some may say it is a round, spear-shaped object, usually made out of some sort of cloth and filled with a bouncy material or air. But this is not always true. For instance, let us take a look at the football. A football is a ball, generally filled with air, as most balls, and generally made from a leather which could be considered a type of cloth.
I love this sports show.
The football is unique as a ball, as it is not shaped like a spear. Instead, it is shaped in a manner that only can be described as a football shape, sort of an oval, but more pointy. On the top of a football, the stitching runs across in a longwise manner, but also includes numerous larger stitches made of hard plastic. These stitches make it easier to grip the football as you throw it across the field.
Anyway,
And
that's
you
a
just
great...
go on for like an hour and a half, really?
That would be our sports show. No, they talk about, you think that player's good? You're an A. No, you're
that
B.
sucks.
And they go back and forth.
Oh, was it 2 people?
Yeah, 2 guys.
Oh, okay, that's a little bit better.
Oh, I neglected to mention that. Oh, you were doing an entire podcast from one point of view.
From one person talking about hour and a half of sports.
All right, I have to see if Carlton put his show in. Anything you want to end with?
I don't.
Oh, Haley died. I hope he finds some cool place in the afterlife to go to. And that's what Christianity is all about, trying to find a cool place to go to after we die. But yes, next show, we're going to bring you the return of the much-loved news segment called This Is Interesting, where we'll bring you some interesting stuff you didn't know. Plus, we'll hear from Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, and John Deere the engineer.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!